Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest weather. Watch today's June 24th, and right now we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You got the Pacific Northwest to the right of this screen, Hawaiian Islands way down to the bottom left there. But if you look out across the Pacific Ocean, the Gulf of Alaska, you can see what is some troughing that's going to be moving into the area as we go through the next few days. But we're still going to have a fairly warm day today. But then we are going to get some ridging as we go through the upcoming weekend, and we're going to turn up the heat across the region. We'll take a look at the extended forecast. As always as well, you're going to want to pay attention to this a little bit here as we go through the video here this morning. So lightning strikes last 24 hours. Click on that and you can kind of see north of Lake Chelan. They're right near the Canada-Washington border. Nothing for Oregon yesterday. And in fact, we can bounce out a little bit more and you can see that lightning activity across some of central British Columbia there and across portions of Alberta. Looks like we did have a couple thunderstorms across West Montana and portions of the Idaho Panhandle. And if you want your own affordable home weather station that does in fact detect lightning, will tell you how far it is away from your place of residence. This one is great, especially for the price. This is one of the best weather stations you can buy indeed. And I'm testing a couple of these at my house. So click on the link down below to save 10% off. Take a look at Astoria, Oregon. Just very slightly below normal here temperature-wise for the month of June. 1.15 inches of precipitation. You can see the daily highs. Some people call that comfortable out there, but you can see a lot of 60s out there. Did have a 77-degree day back on the 8th. If we take a look at Seattle, slightly above normal temperature-wise, almost a full degree, and only 3,500ths of an inch of rain. And it all came on June 21st there. So besides that, just a couple days of trace precipitation amount, 77 degrees yesterday. At SeaTac, another fairly warm day here again today. And you can see we did get back, we got back at 90 degrees there on June 8th as well. Now, the thunderstorm outlook for today, you can see it does clip northeast Washington, portions of Idaho, and southwest Montana. This is day 2, something similar, Intermountain West stuff going on there. Right now, no elevated fire risk here for the Pacific Northwest. Now, taking a look here at 500 millibar heights. So let's put this into motion, and you can kind of see this, these lowered heights across the Gulf of Alaska and Western Canada here. Not exceptionally strong, but that will keep the onshore flow going, especially after today as we go through Friday. But then as we head on in towards Friday afternoon and evening, we start to ramp up some of this ridging here. And as we go through the weekend, you can clearly see we are going to have some of that ridging with us. We're going to warm things up as we go on into the early portion of the following week. And that's where last night's European model run ends. So what am I talking about when I'm talking about the ridging here? Well, let's take a look at where we are over the next couple of days. You can see we've got this onshore flow ongoing here. You see these westerlies coming across the region. And this is as we go through Wednesday night. We continue with this onshore flow here as we go through Thursday and we go through Friday again with the onshore flow. But then as we go through Saturday, notice Saturday afternoon, we start to lighten these winds up a bit here. We turn things a bit more northerly down the coastal areas. And as we scroll off in towards Sunday morning, you see we start to reverse the direction here. A little bit of offshore flow starting to show up as we go through Sunday. That's going to allow us to warm up quite nicely here across the area. Look, by Monday morning, got some northeasterly wind across eastern Washington, northerly wind down the coastline there. And then as we go on in towards next week, we'll see what is to come. It looks like somewhat of an onshore flow regime returning here as we go on into the mid portion of next week. And I'll show you some of that in the extended forecast here in a moment. So if we also take a look at surface pressure here, you can kind of see the lower heights across portions of Canada up there, and then you can kind of imagine the troughing is going to be with us. But watch as we go on in towards this week, and you can see the high pressure kind of building in here as we go on in through Sunday. So that's going to start to return some of this offshore flow, at least very subtly, but it will allow us to warm up this time of year. When you kind of cut off that onshore flow, things can warm up quite dramatically. You can see a little bit of a hint of a thermal trough up the California coastline here as well that helps with that offshore flow as we go towards the end of the month, all the way on in through Sunday night. Now, 850 millibars, 5,000 feet. We're looking at temperatures all off. So I'm going to scroll through here, and you can kind of see the below normal temperatures here as we go through Thursday, Friday, the onshore flow. But then as we go on in through Saturday night, the changes start to occur, and we are going to start to warm up aloft, and that will also be at the surface. So yeah, you can kind of see how things are warming up by the time we get towards Sunday night. Now, precipitation here. Let's take a look at this. A little bit of precipitation for some of western Washington, western Oregon, a little bit better amounts across southwest BC as we go through the day. Wednesday, Thursday, maybe some showers still around. Friday, still that onshore flow and some showery activity, more precipitation across British Columbia, Alberta. and some of the Intermountain areas versus Seattle and Portland, for example. But then as we go towards this weekend, you can see how we start to really dry things out. Now, this is scrolled all the way on and through Sunday night. I mean, Seattle, 500ths of an inch of rain. Portland, 400ths of an inch. Not too much to speak of. Maybe across some of the higher terrain, you're going to get a little bit better. And across British Columbia, some of the higher terrain, it does have some areas, some isolated areas of some heavier precipitation through the next 6 days. But this is for today. Daily 2-meter max temperature today, June 24th. Look at Seattle, 80, 85 for Portland, some mid-90s out there east of the mountains. And as we go through Wednesday, though, you notice those temperatures get knocked back down as we keep the cloud cover around. Same thing for Thursday. Friday, starting to warm up just a hair. Saturday, back into the mid-70s for Seattle, 80s into western Oregon, also southwest BC into the mid-70s. And then we go Sunday, look at that, Seattle 79. Monday, 83 for Seattle. Look at the hundreds returning for some areas, the Tri-Cities out there. Maybe Boise touching 100, Bend out there, mid-90s, something like that. And then western Oregon as well. If you want to get that relief from the heat there, you can go out to some of these coastal areas, as you can see, as we go through the day Monday. And there's Tuesday, we're still fairly warm, but then Wednesday, we'll see what's to come after that. Uncertainty gets pretty high when you look that far off into a forecast. So taking a look a little bit at the extended forecast right now, we got the European Artificial Intelligence on the left, and we got everybody's favorite drunk uncle here on the right, the GFS. Put this into motion, and you can see the onshore flow. Pretty good model agreement there, and also pretty good model agreement on models now showing that ridge developing as we go through the weekend. So we are definitely going to warm up as we go through the later portion of the weekend into early next week. And how long will that ridge hang on? Well, there is, of course, some disagreement as you look that far out. GFS has a little bit more ridging here. This troughing starting to show up in the European Artificial Intelligence. Has been changing over the last couple of days, though, because it was showing a fairly robust system coming through here on the 4th of July. It's backed off on that a little bit here. This would be fireworks time. You kind of see the ridging a little bit here for the Pacific Northwest, but the GFS has a more robust system much closer to the west coast of Canada, which would be keeping much more cloud activity, cloud cover here across Pacific Northwest. And then we scroll through the extended forecast, and you can kind of see big differences start to emerge, some ridging versus troughing. We're not going to worry about that here too much. Here's the European ensemble mean. This is yesterday afternoon's run, kind of the gold standard here, and it does show that ridge. Pretty good confidence in that coming up here. It was go through the early portion of next week, and then we scroll off, and you can kind of see the troughing kind of hanging out here across the Gulf of Alaska, keeping some onshore flow around. But then maybe through the extended forecast, are we going to keep some of these above average heights? Who knows? We'll continue to check back on that daily. So I'm going to show you something else besides just the 6 to 10 day here. So stick with me. This is above average across a lot of the west. I don't know about this signal here. We'll continue to monitor that. This was issued yesterday. But look at this, was issued June 19th. This is a monthly temperature outlook for July of 2025. Clear above normal signal here across a lot of the western portion of the USA. And look at this below normal signal here as well as we go through the month of July. Pretty substantial across some of Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana there as well. Now, 3 to 4 weeks here. This is a little bit different. July 5th through July 18th. Again, above normal signal for much of the Pacific Northwest and a strong below normal. Well, I shouldn't say strong, but you can kind of see the below normal signal is there in the 3 to 4 week forecast. That's, again, July 5th through July 18th. So, maybe summer does start after the 4th of July. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, we're doing all right subscriber wise here. It looks like the big decline was kind of ending, or I shouldn't say big. I mean, it looks like there was some bot cleaning going on with YouTube there as well, but we are now getting close to 98,000 subscribers. So click like and subscribe. Check back again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.